I wanted to become a musician, and I just fell in love from the first lesson I had. I just realized that this is what I was meant to do.
Hi and welcome to the LeadUP Podcast. I'm Lennox Losara. It's so great to be in your company right now. We're celebrating 5 years of the LeadUP Podcast in our 5th season, and today it's the final episode of that season. And look, we've had some very interesting conversations over the years, and today is nothing short of that. I'm joined by Viwe Mkizwana. He is an award-winning bassist. He is a composer, he is an arranger and musical director, as well as an educator. But most importantly, he graduated at the University of Pretoria with his Bachelor Honours in Music, as well as a Master's in Performing Arts. And he's currently working on his PhD. So he's truly molded here at the University of Pretoria and still stays here at the University of Pretoria. But you know, his journey has been exciting because his gift has taken him all over the world, from places like Amsterdam to Los Angeles, because of his craft. But because with the body of work that he has, he was certainly being recognized by the industry with several summer nominations, as well as 2 Naledi Awards. And he's also won a Mzantsi Jazz Award, just to reflect the quality of work that he's producing. So Viwe, so great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
But listen, let's talk about the music now.
Yeah.
When you started your journey, you essentially wanted to be more in drama. That's what you were actually practicing for. And then you would hear, you know, the music upstairs, and then you thought, well, let me give it a crack.
Yeah, no, precisely, man. You know, I used to sit in this class, and the music class, of course, was just upstairs hours, and then I would always listen. I was get so distracted with the music, and I would always see even my mates carrying instruments at school, and then I thought, you know what, I wanted to become a musician, and I just fell in love from the first lesson I had. I just realized that this is what I was meant to do.
At that time, you know, you have to speak to your mom to say, listen, you know, this is the career I'm possibly considering, the musical side. And sometimes, you know, our parents want us to go conventional, medical doctor, pilot, you know. And then it's like, hey, listen, I want to go into the creative space. I want to go and make music, and I want to particularly, you know, go into jazz music specifically. Like, how were those conversations?
It was, difficult. My mother was always supportive, you know. It wasn't really that she didn't want me to do it. She didn't understand what it takes. She didn't understand that she can build a career out of this, you know. And she was more scared than anything, you know. And then she just thought maybe it was just also like a phase I was going through, maybe in a few years. Then what if I decide I get out of that phase? Then what? Then it's too late. So I had to gradually walk the journey with her and just explain to her that no, there are people there's even like old people who are still playing music. So I'm safe. I'm gonna be fine. She was always supportive, like I said. You know.
But it happened in a very special genre. You know?
Yes.
So, nowadays you speak to a lot of folks like, oh, I want to do my piano, I want to do this, I want to do hip hop, I want to rap. But like, to say, I want to be in the jazz space. Like, you know, I wonder what lured you into jazz. Was it because maybe you listened to a lot of jazz, or the music upstairs was jazzy, or what was it?
Growing up, jazz music was always around, and not even actively listening, but passively. There was always like good music around me from like my uncles, and even like my neighbors. They would always play music. And I think when I started, I was trained classically, but at some point I wanted to connect with that music that I used to grow up listening to. You know, I was drawn to that, and the more you learn about making music, then it draws you even closer to the music. I think it was inevitable, man. It was gonna happen regardless, you know, because it was music that I really, really enjoyed when I was young.
So it was like preaching to the converted.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, let's talk about that in particular. So when you said that, you know, you had to do the learning about the music, and you still got an honors from the University of Pretoria in music, and then Masters in Performing Arts. And now you're on this journey, the initial stages now with your PhD. Does that actually reshape how you actually view the music and how you go about composing and so on? Like, I'm just curious just how that rolls out for you, how it influences the process.
Oh yeah, totally, because I think there's like stages in the music, you know, there's like a creative stage when you're fresh, you're young, you've got so many ideas, like a lot of ideas, but you can't pack these ideas or like put them in compartments, you know. And the more you learn, then it teaches you how to organize those ideas, because they're all over the place, and sometimes one doesn't necessarily know what to do with those sounds. So the more you get more focused, and I mean, up to my masters, I was at a point now where I was mastering my own sound, because as life goes, man, as a musician, you kind of like feed into other people's sounds or styles, and then you don't have quite your voice. But that grows. The more you grow, the more you find your voice and you refine your voice. And then I think I'm at a point now where I have my voice, and what I do is just sharpen that voice and work on that voice. And I think that helps. And also my decision of going further with studying, you know, and having grown up in the township, you know, in Davidton, I always wanted to be an example, you know, to other young kids, to say it's difficult. I mean, we grew up with limited resources, of course, you know, and often kids may think it's not going to happen for me. It only happens to certain people. So I just want to advocate for those, you know, helpless, sitting there, young kids, and say, oh, if he comes from where I come from, then I can definitely be where he is. So there's also like a big motivation on my side as well.
And like also it's not like about where you start, you know?
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
And just, you know, you're talking about, you know, the younger folks now. Let me just bring this in now.
Yeah.
You know, I meet a lot of people. I'm at 2K, 2000s, and they say, listen, I want to be a DJ, and like a lot of people want to be DJs, and a lot of people think, you know, just getting the USBs, plug it into like a mixer, and you start mixing music, and there it goes. But like, there's also a craft to it that I think people need to start appreciating. Yeah,
for sure. So with regards to that, really, I think there's an opportunity, man, you know, to learn. And I think the young people, we should always advise them to go learn. There's certain things you need to learn. There's certain techniques that you learn before you can jump in and start DJing as well. And also for the longevity of the career, you get a solid foundation. So basic music scales, studies, that helps a lot to solidify when you play. Because I mean, for people who are musicians, it's really easy, you know, to DJ, because they already have the concept of sound, they have the meters, they already got that, you know. So I encourage young people, I mean, it's a good thing that people want to go in that direction, but I also encourage them to go study a bit more,
And then you're speaking about different instruments. So how many instruments can you play? I know you're the greatest bassist out here, but like when it comes to like other instruments.
Yeah, so when I started music, I played guitar. It was my primary instrument. I switched, I played the bass guitar at some stage. I did piano, and I played a bit of a recorder as well. And my friends, I mean, I wish with the double bass, the one instrument that's close to my heart, I wish I had a more philosophical story, which I don't. It was just friends of mine who played in an orchestra, and none of the instruments I played were featured in the orchestra. And then my piano teacher said, don't you want to try out the double bass? And I kid you not, that first moment I plugged that bass, I realized that this is it.
Wow.
It felt like there was silence in the room, and then I could just hear that sound of the bass. And up to today, I mean, when I compose, it's all from the bass down, you know. So even if I compose a pop song, it always starts from the bass. So I build everything from the bass. Even if I have ideas, they come, I start singing the bass line, and then everything else stack on top of the bass line.
Yeah. It was like a eureka moment for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Such a special instrument. That one.
So walk us through your albums now, like your craft, and you've had 3 albums, Black Child, your latest work. I mean, listen to some of it, and I was just wondering, like, you know, what kind of messaging were you trying to get across to the listener like myself?
So with the 3 albums, the first album was titled African Skies. So it was just like to give ode to nature and Africa, and just like to be grateful of where we live, Often you always hear negative on the news, negative things said about, but we often forget to sit and look at the beauty. So that was African Skies. So it was just stating things under the African skies. And then my second album was Tribute. So this was a dedication to people close to me, people who are heroes of South Africa, to God as well, and ode to God. And then specifically now this latest work, Black Child, is also quite close to my heart. And then that speaks to Black Child, And when I started this project, just conceptualizing it, to me, it was difficult to think of Black Child without separating the 2 words. When I think about black, I just think about, you think dark, you think about, beauty, but visible, but often not seen. And then you think about a child, the purity. So to me, putting those words together, it almost like, it feels like Black Child, it's someone who was born or destined to be great, but the circumstances around them determine where they end up. So that's where the story came by of Black Child. And this is just also like an affirmation album to a Black Child, to say you are enough, you are beautiful, you are important, you are worth it as the Black Child. And other songs as well, it's just like really about awareness of the Black community. So it's always challenging conversations that happens in the Black communities and stuff that we're afraid to speak about, And as a people, we need to be together, and there's so much divisions, So before we can start going in the world, we start from home. So that's the message of the Black Child.
It's a powerful message. It's a message of purpose as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you think it's so hard for us to have those conversations?
I even find it at home. There's certain things I can't say to my parents. There's certain I can't challenge certain elders, because I think just how the structures are built in the Black communities, And that's why I just thought I'm going to try and approach these conversations through music and just start a conversation. And it's all to better the nation, really. Yeah.
You've had the real privilege, I'd call it, of like your gift takes you around the world.
Yes,
You've been all over, bro. Like you've been in Amsterdam. You've been to Los Angeles as well. In Europe. Like when you take your body of work into these contexts and you start performing, like what do you observe, the audience, and like what kind of like emotions erupt?
I will tell you, man, every single time having to perform in those large concerts hall, people, the audience, you come out there, they in tears, because it's almost like they're longing for it, because we're telling our stories, and our stories are easily overlooked, and it's missing, because it's also part of a contribution to the world. So it's just that contribution that people are not getting. They're getting everything else. But when we get there and then we sit, we share. We're vulnerable. We're sharing our stories through the music. And it's so special. It's so special. Every time we always get invitations to say, please come back again. We want to hear the stories of Africa. We like to hear stories of South Africa. So everywhere we go, even in the States, it's such good receptions that we get there from many, big crowds of people.
Yeah. What is it like being at the MIAGI Orchestra? Because that's like big.
Oh yeah, so that's quite a special orchestra, close to my heart actually. When I was young, I joined that orchestra. I think maybe I was 14 years old or 15 years old, and there was a point they even paid for my lessons. But it's more than an orchestra, but a community. It nurtures people, and often in these orchestras, there's like certain divisions, or you don't feel like you belong, But that specific orchestra opened such a platform that everyone can be who they truly are. And it's more than just like a conventional classical orchestra. So there's like, you play jazz, there's African indigenous music, and we still play classical music, and it's all fused in one. And it's different people from all walks of the world. You know, there's musicians from Cape Town, Durban, even musicians from Europe, Colombia. We get together in that orchestra, and we all share a part of ourselves and make music together.
Would you say like being part of like the Gauteng Philharmonic Orchestra prepares you to go out there? It's all the same.
I think every orchestra I played for contributed to where I am today. And then I think such orchestras like the JPO or the GPO, it's for experience. You need to go through that just to get experience and play the repertoire so that you equipped, you know, and there's like a standard repertoire for all musicians. So those orchestras just help you to build your repertoire.
And also those experiences like are very crucial in the journey, because I think one of the things that stands out with your journey is that it's longevity.
Yeah.
There's a word that comes is like
yeah, for sure.
longevity. It's about staying and surviving the test of time. And I think COVID-19 really rattled a lot of what we do, and to survive that, you know, it speaks to the resilience, you know,
yeah, for sure.
sustainability of a sound and
yeah.
the craft. I mean, when it comes to that element, like what keeps you still in the game?
Is to keep on working. You know, every single day I still practice. So to keep in shape. That's what keeps you alive. Because you stop practicing, then the music stops. Mm-hmm. So the more you have to keep up, it's like an athlete or something, you know, they always have to keep fit, or, you know, a sportsman, a tennis player, you know, they always. So that's what I do. In the morning, I wake up, play a bit before I sleep, or get time during the day. That's all I do. I practice just to keep in and just to keep the music alive. You know, I compose quite a lot. I write for television. I do quite a lot of things, so orchestrate and arrange. So that also keeps me sharp. And doing that, you know, you always keep the music, you know, even if there's not much jobs at the time, but just keeping the routine of playing music, writing music.
Got to stay agile. And I like the fact that you're bringing TV there, because you've also done stuff for BBC Proms,
yes,
and
yeah.
also done stuff for Amazon Studios, that series,
yes.
Bosch. Like,
Bosch, yeah.
How do those scenes come about? Is it somebody hears you somewhere and they're like, oh, we need him to work with us, or you kind of have to reach out to people?
Since I've been in this game for long, so you know what, you always do one project and someone gets so impressed with this project and they're like, who wrote this specific thing, this specific feature? Okay, we want that person. So sometimes I get approached. And I mean, for the Bosch thing, I was approached by a company from Los Angeles, you know, who deals with like Disney and stuff, and who said, we really like your music, we really like how you write, and we want to partner with you, want to be in collaboration with you. So I thought, okay, let's go. We went through the process, and then they pitched some music, and then it hits. I got that gig, and which was a big thing, you know, it was a big thing amongst even the smaller ones that I've done at home, you know, but that was quite a big gig. And I mean, that was just for TV. And apart from that, you know, the stuff that I've done for BBC Proms is just like to orchestrate, you know, for an orchestra. For Marcus Wyatt, he was doing a songbook, South African songbook. So basically he compiled a few tunes from the legends of South Africa and present a concert in the UK. So he asked me to be one of the orchestrators there for it. And I mean, that thing was well received, and it was repeated 3 times. And we've played it with the Joburg Philharmonic, you know, for the past 3 years as well. So that was such a huge success.
That's amazing. And I think on the conversation of these collaborations, these partnerships, I would maybe call them, with these extensions where you're switching to TV, and you know, there's these conversations that a lot of artists are having just around rights and ownership and fair pay and that kind of thing. Like, what has your experience been with that? You know, like a lot of people seem to be worried about those elements around how, you know, maybe artists are not being paid fairly for their craft, you know, especially with these big record labels, for example.
I think, first of all, it starts with thorough research, you know, and I think often as artists, we tend to overlook the research. And overall, I think what has worked for me, I've always been independent, you know, I've always owned everything. And I mean, it's probably the long route to go, but it's a safer route, I think, for me, because it would have been easy to just go and sign with a label, you know. But like I said, you know, I'm writing my own sound. I want to write my own messages. and it can be overlooked if I were to be signed in a label. They can tell me, okay, no, we don't want this direction. Just go this direction, because at the end they want the masses. But for me, it's about the messages or the conversations that helped me to always be independent, first of all. So everyone that comes to me and approaches me, it's always on a collaboration, but not to sign me, you know what I mean? But I think there's not enough conversation about that, you know? And especially if you look at like artists who've not gone to school, they can be easily exploited, because if you come there and, you know, and be like, okay, I've got 30 grand, man, do you wanna come write me some songs, you know?
Yeah.
And then once you're signed, it's too late, you know? So I think we really need more awareness in terms of that, how record labels, how do they operate? And the world has shifted, because the world is smaller now. We've got social media, so there's easier reach. So you don't really need to be part of a label to get your music out there, because you can literally record your own music, you can upload your music on Spotify or YouTube, and then you can reach, you know, the international market, so without having a representation. So I think it's getting better, you know, because no one is rushing to get signed anymore. People are just doing their own things, you know.
Maybe to somebody listening who's doing their own thing, I mean, similar path that you've been on. Sometimes it just takes long for things to crack. Like it feels like, man, I'm hitting against this wall, but I'm not getting anywhere with this project. So it's just the resilience. What keeps you really going? Like, is it the sense of belief that, listen, this will work out? Because I know so many artists have spent years and years and maybe it didn't break off the way they wanted to, or their sound didn't pop off the way they wanted to. But some people feel like they got lucky. Yeah,
but you know, I think the best thing I would advise, man, is to collaborate with people. That keeps it going, because it's more impactful if there's a lot of you. So even if I've got my own project, I think you must still get together with other people and collaborate, co-write music, distribute music together. That keeps you going, you know, keeps going. And it's easier to knock on doors, you know, if there's 5 of you other than when you're alone. Because sometimes when you're alone, you can always think, you know what, it's not happening. But if there's 5 of us here, we can always view things in different, you know, perspectives. So I think people can just start, reach out to the same people. If you do amapiano, reach out to the other guys who are working on amapiano. If you're in hip hop space, reach out to other rappers, you know, do collaborative shows. That I think I would advise.
First ever African violin concerto that you've written. That's an interesting, very innovative project.
Yeah, sure. It's quite a big project that I took upon, that one. So I was sitting, I thought I wanted to do something much bigger, you know. I always want to push myself. Initially, I thought I should write a bass concerto because it was only fair, you know, that because I'm a bass player. And then I realized that no, I just need to get out of my comfort zone and actually write something that I've not written for. And then there's lots of research that went in. I had to watch videos, tutorials, how the violin works. And then I decided I'm gonna write this violin concerto. It's never been written, and it's gonna be the first in Africa. And then I approached a friend of mine, a virtuoso violinist who studied in the UK, South African born, Dr. Samson Diamond. And then I said, listen, I think I want to write a violin concerto. Would you be interested in playing it? And then he said, yeah, definitely. So that's where the journey started. It took a year to write, back and forth with him, changing this and changing that. But we are happy to say now we have the violin concerto and waiting for the world premiere at some stage to happen.
Yeah, we're excited for that. Like, really looking forward to that as well. And just in terms of your legacy, what's next for you? What's on the table for you? What are some of the things you're looking forward to in the future?
So for now, I'm doing a tour, UK tour next year, Black Child UK tour, and then I'm also gonna do like a homecoming after the UK tour. Do a couple of concerts in Joburg, a couple of concerts in Cape Town, Durban, Eastern Cape. You know, so it's gonna be quite a busy year, and while doing my PhD at the same time and working.
Yeah, for sure. And he's still doing his PhD here at the University of Pretoria. But being back here, we're recording from campus. just wonder how, being back on campus, evokes some memories on your end.
Yeah,
just what
so many
memories,
man. I remember this courtyard here, we used to spend all our time here. And deadlines and stuff, typing on your computer. Yeah, so there's like good memories and good memories. It's good to be back.
Yeah, Viwe, thank you so much. Your story it's been very inspiring, and it's also just been a reassurance of the fact that, resilience pays off. Collaboration still works.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, man.
That's incredible. So that brings us to the end of our chat with Viwe. I mean, he's just sharing a lot about his journey. Really excited to see some of the things that he will be doing in the future. And I just like the fact that his story is really embedded a lot in the academic rigor and how that's informed his sound, and also taking chances along the road. But of course, this brings us to the final episode of season 5 here on the LeadUP podcast. If you haven't caught up with some of the other episodes, remember to go back and re-listen and relive it. Well, if you're wondering where you can get more information about the podcast, go to up.ac.za/LeadUP. You'll get all the information you need from there, as well as available on all platforms, wherever you listen to your podcast from. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you'll find us right there too. And of course on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Also remember to share with a friend, right? Like, this is some really cool content. So share with your friends wherever you are. And remember, this production is partly brought to you by the University of Pretoria's Alumni Relations Office. Our head of content is Anna Schutz. And the audiovisual quality has brought to you by Meropa Communications. And from our side, love and light, goodbye.